Hi, I'm Pat. Join me as I share with you my life and how I'm able to explore kinky sex in a Christian environment. All right, welcome back, beautiful people, to another episode of the Kinky Christian Podcast. Hope you're enjoying this as much as I'm enjoying giving it to you. No pun intended. So, today is another subject that I really wish that I would have had an expert, but didn't happen. So, I'm going to share with you what little bit of knowledge I have, and we'll go from there. Hopefully, it'll be enough to at least get you started. And again, maybe later, I can find someone who knows far more than I do, which isn't very difficult. And they'll want to come on this show, and kind of slum it around with me for a little bit. But today's episode is going to be all about what's called sub drop. Now, in the previous episode, we talked about sub frenzy, so you kind of get an idea of what that is. It's where you kind of get this little bit of a high, an addiction to everything and just want to experience it all. Well, sub drop kind of comes on the back end of all this. So once you get into the lifestyle, into the BDSM, and start experimenting with things and start having what's called scenes, the scenes kind of build again, endorphins and adrenaline in your body. So you start feeling this kind of euphoric high as you go into a scene. And with all these natural chemicals and drugs running through your body, you kind of, again, get addicted to it. So the problem is coming out of it. When you come out of a scene, or even like if you went to a convention or something and you're coming out of it, all these chemicals start dissipating in your body. All the adrenaline and the endorphins and hormones, they start to level back off, and sometimes they go a little lower than normal. Well, that creates what's called a sub drop, and we say sub drop just because it's in the BDSM community, but it can happen in normal life. You build up this high and go on vacation, and during vacation it's just wonderful. You're sitting on the beach and you're doing all the things that you wanted to do, and then you come home from vacation and you get a little depressed. You start feeling sad, you start feeling blue. That's a form of a sub drop. It's when everything starts settling back down and all the emotions start kicking in. You get depressed. Some people get really depressed. You get kind of the blues, and it can get really severe. It can really take people out. So when that happens, and it can happen at any time. Don't think it's going to happen like right after every scene. It can happen right after the scene. It can happen an hour after the scene. It can happen a day after the scene, or a week. It can happen at any time. It's not restricted to any time frame. Just like when you come home from vacation, So when that happens, what you want to do, especially if it's sub drop, I'm not talking about, vacation blues, but sub drop, you want to provide what's called aftercare. And aftercare is something that can take many different forms. And it can be done at any time. So for me and my sub, my kitten, immediately after every scene, I massage her down with oils, not just to help soothe her emotionally, but, she's just been through a lot of physical trauma. She's been flogged and whipped and beat and had pins poked in her and hot wax on her. So her body actually needs some care after that. So I'll massage her down. I'll give her a good 10-15 minutes just rubbing some soothing oils in. I get her plenty of water, or like a Gatorade type, something to help replenish the fluids and the electrolytes, because her body is sore. And then we cuddle. We'll cuddle, and I'll hold her, I'll rub her head, and sometimes she needs a little more than that. Sometimes I give her chocolate to help with her sugar levels. Sometimes juice. Sometimes she's just full out hungry, so I'll cook her a meal. Whatever she needs to recover from what she just went through is what I try to give her. And there are times when it'll last for a couple days. So as her master, I have to be very attentive to her emotional and psychological state. The physicalness will heal by itself, You can put ointments on it and keep massaging her, but the sub drop is more of an emotional aspect. And so the aftercare for sub drop has to really be focused on them emotionally and psychologically. Give them the attention they need. Give them extra love. Give them, encouragement. Sometimes just having sex afterwards, or a day or two afterwards, or whatever it takes is what you need to do for your submissive. And it's going to be different for everyone. You kind of need to explore all the possibilities, explore everything, do research, ask others, find out what other people are doing, and find out what works for your submissive. Some are more complicated than others. My kitten is a very emotional woman. So I need to take extra special care, and sometimes it lasts for days and weeks. But that's what I need to do to help her through it. Best way for her, do another scene. But that's not always possible. And you do another scene, and that's a temporary fix because it starts that cycle all over again. You do the scene, it builds up her adrenaline and her endorphins, and all the hormones start running wild, and she feels great. Then when the scene's done and her body starts coming back down, we're back at square one. But if that's what it takes to give her that relief, that's what I do. So explore with yourself and your submissives, explore what kind of aftercare can help. Because that's the key to it, is proper aftercare. Now, just so you know, as with sub frenzy, sub drop can affect DOMs because it's an adrenaline high for the dominant just as much as it is for the submissive. And we go through, as a dominant myself, we go through that same thing. The chemicals start going, our body gets beat up. I mean, when you go through a scene, normally our scenes last for about an hour and a half, depending on how it goes, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, but most of them are about an hour and a half. That's a long time to be flogging somebody or paddling somebody, and it's very physically exerting. But the adrenaline kicks in, and so your energy levels are high during that. Once you settle down and your adrenaline levels drop, same thing can happen to a dom. So my kitten, my submissive, is a very strong proponent of Dom aftercare. So, and for her, that actually helps with her aftercare. Because being a submissive, she wants to serve me. She wants to do anything she can to please me. So taking care of me after a scene actually helps to center her. So after I'm done doing most of her aftercare, massaging her, putting the oils on her, getting her hydrated, she spends about 5 to 10 minutes doing the same with me. She'll massage me, take care of my aching muscles, get me some water to drink, and help to soothe me, which also soothes her emotionally and spiritually and psychologically. So, bottom line to this, sub drop can be a dangerous thing, just as much as sub frenzy can. You don't want someone to get trapped in this pit of despair and depression, because once you're in that pit, it can be very difficult to get out of it. And that's with anything, not just with BDSM and the lifestyle, but that's with anything. So be mindful, not just in the lifestyle, but be mindful of people. If you see someone that looks like they're having a hard time, reach out to them, check on people. We tend to be a society that doesn't want to get involved, and a society that doesn't want to ask for help because it makes us feel weak. But asking for help is a sign of strength. Offering help is a sign of compassion. So take care of your subs. That's priority. Make sure you take care of your subs. But also, be good and take care of each other. Until next time, God bless.